Hello everyone and welcome to round one of the Idlewild Open presented by Dynamic Discs. My name's Madison Walker.
And I'm Erika Stinchcomb, and we're the Two Hot Geese.
Honk.
Honk. We are watching the feature card of round one. We have Sarah Hokom, Ohn Scoggins, Missy Gannon, and Macie Walker today.
Can't wait to watch Ohn, recent Masters World Champion. Watch her shred this wooded course at Idlewild. We got a little bit of prep last week at Northwood Black at Ledgestone, and we'll see if these ladies have really dialed in their fairway hits.
Yeah, Missy coming in second last week, and Hokom coming in third, and Macie shredding at Jonesboro earlier this year, so we should see some good shots.
Hole 1 is a par 4 at 638 feet. It's got out of bounds all the way down the left-hand side, and the right-hand side is a big downhill slope that causes the basket to be a lot more difficult to reach. You want to keep it in the middle, up on top of this hill, get your second shot down here to this elevated pin with a steep drop off behind it, and hopefully tap in your birdie. It was hot and sticky out there today, folks.
Yeah, otherwise though, less wind than we had in practice, which was really nice.
Sarah hoping to grab into the grass, but looks like she's going to filter all the way to the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, that is a common mistake.
Next on the tee from Los Angeles, California, representing Innova, Helix, and Grip Bags, Ohn Scoggins.
We did have a competitor with COVID, so you're going to see more mass. We are back in a Phase 2 event versus a Phase 3 for the players. It's a little bit different considerations.
Ohn keeping it low, hoping the tailwind's not taking too much of an effect on it, but still gets a good ways down there.
Third on the tee from Beacon, New York, representing Discraft, Missy Gannon.
Missy is going to be throwing this ESP Thrasher all day.
As the season goes on, I feel like Missy gets stronger and stronger and stronger. She's really dialing in her shots and really getting comfortable on tour, and her putting is obviously unbelievable. Can't wait to watch her play today.
That was a great move on the disc. She got a ton of distance, and she's down the hill a little, but it's pretty short.
28 tee time from Whitesburg, Tennessee, representing Dynamic Discs, Macie Walker.
Macie has an absolute cannon of a forehand. I hope we get to see that a bunch today.
She's kind of a newer face on tour in the last couple of years. One of my new favorite people to play with. She's got all the shots. She's from East Tennessee, and she's got that laid-back attitude that makes it really nice to get through a round with.
She's sponsored by Dynamic, and that was a Raider way up the fairway. Nice and in the middle.
Ohn getting a little bit more air into her disc on her second shot, trying to get down there inside the circle.
You kind of have to hyzer out before that tree. If you hit it, it leaves a really low ceiling putt. So that was well done. She's just going to trust herself on the putt. This is a trace.
The downslope behind this basket makes me question running any sort of death putt, because if you get a roll, I mean, you could roll 250.
Yeah, I've seen some bad ones.
Yeah, it's way down there before the hill stops.
That looks like a harp, and not too bad.
Really have to go to Crush Town to be throwing a harp on your second shot.
Yeah, she's got power for sure. And look how far Missy is. Just a little chip sidearm.
Well done.
Yeah, a little shorter than she wants, I'm sure.
Ooh, getting
Sit
a
down.
weird roll. I don't think she'll be contending with the branches. Oh, yeah, she will.
Just a bit.
Straddling out. Gonna have to really make it linear.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That was
she's
a
definitely
great
getting
putt.
stronger and stronger as the season goes on. Everybody in the field, in both fields, is looking to score on this hole. It's definitely the most open, and it just doesn't feel very good to get a par here.
Almost a perfect disc golf hole, 25% below par, 29% above.
Man, Ohn is a really good putter, so I'm sure we'll see her dial that in. Macie with a nice short putt for birdie. Couple tap-ins for par here. And now we'll start to get to the hard part of the course. After one hole.
Yeah, it really does dive straight in.
Hole 2 is a par 4, 601 feet. It's all about getting to the landing zone. You want to pass this one tree, this last tree in the middle here, and get out onto this hillside. The farther up, the better, so you can cross the water on your second shot. OB water all along the left side. The disc really filters down there with the right-handed backhands. If you don't get off the tee well, you just have to pitch up to the landing zone, and now you have a really hard shot for par. It's a really good hole.
Yeah, the basket used to be a little bit further up and in the wide open instead of being tucked on the backside of that second hill. It makes the hole so much harder. When you choose the layup option, I mean, I don't want to say you're choosing a bogey, but in reality, that second shot is so hard over the water.
And she hits the one tree. Oh, I forgot to mention there's OB on the left side, this whole first part of the hole. That was a great line on it. I think the sidearm is probably the higher percentage play, but it takes a booming sidearm to get all the way up there.
Yeah, if you don't have the distance on the sidearm, like we can see Macie definitely does, you can easily filter into some trees on the right-hand side, and it makes it impossible to get a footing to be able to do a run-up to carry across the water.
That was a defender, and, I mean, she just hyzered it. Like, she didn't even have to flex it or anything. She just popped a little hyzer.
It's just a hyzer, guys.
And that is also well done. I assume they will both go across. Even if you don't get close to the pin on your second shot across the water, it makes the par really easy.
3 out of the 4 players throwing sidearm off the tee. Love seeing that in FPO.
Yeah, Ohn has a great sidearm as well. This is a Champion Colossus. She is more of the flex style sidearm.
Doesn't quite get the distance you want. She will filter down into those bushes. Maybe she'll be able to get a run up. Missy looks like she's holding a driver. She's still going across the water, even after catching that last tree.
This is her Z Raptor. And I mean, she is decent footing. And again, now that she's across, it's an easy par. She's not ready to concede to that bogey. The layup feels terrible. You throw it like less than 100 feet.
Yes.
And then it makes your third shot really difficult.
This plate is the second most difficult hole on the day, and Macie showing us how that can happen so quickly. Maybe she grabbed, but this is a mistake I think a lot of the FPO competitors make, is when they're trying to go across on their second shot, coming up just a teeny bit short.
With the uphill run-up, it's just hard to get your body behind the shot throwing as straight as you want. It just ends up hyzering. This is a cool play to go away from the water and to just have an easy pitch up.
I thought Ohn was down in those bushes, but it looks like she was up on the side of the hill, had no problem carrying.
That was an ideal drive from Hokom, but she turns this a little bit too much. I think she dropped safe.
There's always the possibility of your disc to roll with how steep this hill is, especially along the left-hand side.
Yeah, definitely looking at the spotters all day today. There were a ton of them out there. On the big par 5, there was 6 spotters on one hole.
I think to see 4 out of 4 competitors on the card getting over on their second shot is pretty rare with the way that the hole scored today.
And it turns out they're good.
Yeah. They're
Oh, this is
66% of the field with a bogey or worse.
I was in that same tree. Don't have a great look from in there. But it saves you from going out of bounds, so, you know, then take it. God, she's so good at that.
Yeah. And that is such a death putt.
Mm-hmm.
So confident. No birdies on the day in the FPO field. That doesn't surprise me.
I'm sure we'll see a couple before the weekend's out.
Yeah.
It
Maybe
is
a couple.
It is nice to get 3 chances at the same course.
Really feel like you can dial it in.
Par's good here, though.
Yeah, so impressive to see 4 out of 4 pars with 66% of the field with a bogey or worse. That's crazy. Hole 3 is also hard. It's 407 feet. It's shorter. It's a one-shot hole, but it is a risky shot. There's OB all the way down the left-hand side in those bushes. There's an OB ditch right here, just before the basket and inside the circle, and the out-of-bounds wraps around the backhand side on the road. Although it's downhill, there's something about this hole, the placement of the trees, the way it angles, that makes it really hard to get your disc to carry the distance you want it to go, even with the hill to help.
I think it's because it's sloping down from the right to the left. It's hard to throw an anhyzer like this. A lot of times you catch the hillside. Not Missy, though. She gets all the way down. Oh, man. She lands OB. That creek is right in the landing zone. She has a chance to save her par, but it's just such a bummer to throw the shot correctly and just get punished.
It is such a touchy angle. Avoiding that tree on the right-hand side that we can see Macie buzz past is the name of the game. Oh,
she's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a better mistake, I think, to pull it to the right since there's left side OB the whole way. But obviously there are risks involved with any mistakes here.
I saw some of the women on my card lay up just before the creek, not try to get all the way to the basket. You can see Hokom doing maybe something in that realm. I don't think she was going for the green here, but I could be wrong. There is definitely a safe option, though.
AKA the boring option.
It is so boring. It feels awful to lay up on a downhill 400-foot hole.
Yeah. This is a champion strike. Gets good turning. It just needs to fade back towards the pin. Ooh.
Right in the
also
middle of
out
it.
of bounds. I wish that creek was casual.
Me
It's
too.
just right where your
After playing
shot
Northwood
lands, you know?
After playing Northwood Black last week and all the creeks were casual, it's like,
Which was a good change because the year prior they weren't.
yeah. It just it makes it easier to be aggressive and to try to hit those lines that are challenging.
I just think this doesn't reward good shots, and so it encourages those boring layups.
I agree.
Thank you.
Feels a little bit like a throw and hope scenario.
Ohn trying to save her par. Signature
Yeah.
wobbly spin putt getting right in there. It's always really fun to watch her disc in slow motion when she putts. Let's see it.
Yay!
Cool. Wow.
So much action.
Look at what's happening.
Oh, that was a great GK replay. Thanks to GK Pro for really showing us the finer details of the flight.
Missy pretty close to save her par. No problem.
No question. There was only one birdie on the day.
Wow.
Paige Pierce.
That does surprise me.
I agree. I think that's very surprising. I think we'll see a lot more birdies on this hole in rounds 2 and 3.
I wonder how many people landed it in that creek.
There was 34% bogeys in the FPO field, and I'm willing to guess that all of them did. No, there's a lot of trouble you can get in on this hole early if you hyzer out and go out of bounds, and that can definitely turn into a bogey quickly.
Hole 4 is a 334-foot par 3, OB path on the right, OB water on the left. It slopes sharply from right to left. Most people are just going to throw a hyzer wide towards the cart path and try to let it filter down towards the pin. I suppose there's a sidearm play, but it's kind of massive, so I mean, Hokom will do it, but I'm not sure many other people will. That looks like that same thrasher from Missy.
This is such a scary hole in my opinion, even though it's wide open the whole way.
Wow.
Missy lands her disc so perfectly, but I mean, there's such a risk there in coming in with the distance driver that close to the pin and it's skipping out of bounds deep.
To me, this is kind of a bonus. It's not that far, but I'm just not quite willing to throw a direct line at the basket because I don't want to filter OB.
Oh no.
Dang, I like that disc too.
Hopefully Macie gets that one back.
I'm still like so impressed with Missy's shot.
It was amazing.
It was a great shot. It's so 334 feet. She got every bit of it and landed it inside the circle.
So Hokom not necessarily taking the risky play. She's trying to flip one over, and she lands 90 feet away. It is a touchy approach. You have to make sure you match the angle of the hill when you land, or else you can roll away, but that should be pretty simple. Oh, cool. Ohn is also throwing a sidearm here.
I like the sidearm play even if you can't get there because you don't have to worry about that disc hyzering and skipping down the hill. She doesn't flip it as much as she wants. She'll be way early and right, and that's going to make her second shot pretty difficult.
Yeah, she's pretty far. She's going sidearm again. And this is a destroyer.
Hoping to spike one into the hill,
Uh-oh.
maybe filter, but not that much.
Man. It was on so much angle. I'm sure she was just trying to spike it down. Wow, that'll be a tough bogey putt.
Yeah, outside the circle on an elevated pin, uphill.
Go in!
Yes.
That's a good backboard.
She's not wrong. Usually you don't like the elevated pins, but this one's kind of something to aim for when you're up on the hill. Because it's probably not going to roll.
Thank you.
Macie just looking to lay up here. Ohn to save her par. Bogey. Jeez.
Yeah, she'll have to take the double. Hard to putt uphill at an elevated basket. Takes a lot of power.
There was only 2 birdies on the day. We got to watch one of them. The other was to Stacy Ronsley.
That's a great birdie.
That is a great feeling birdie.
Plus, just to be under par here, like Missy and Macie are, feels so good. I think the front nine's probably a little bit easier.
There's definitely more birdies. You want to get as many as you can in the front 9 because the back 9 it can so quickly eat you alive.
Just chew you up, spit you out, and stomp on you afterwards.
Let's check in with the leaderboard. We see only 2 people sitting under par. Paige Shue, coming out of retirement. It's so awesome to watch her back on tour. It's super awesome to see her in the wood shooting under par. A lot of people sitting at even and just 1 over. But there's so much golf left to play. It's really hard to take these scores seriously before the back 9.
What a joke.
Hole 5 is 426 feet downhill, but it feels so much farther than that with all these sticky trees in the landing zone. Ideally, you want to land one right here in the sun and then make a long putt to get your birdie. But we'll see a lot of people trying to place before the trees and pitching up. I did not realize this was a par 3.
Yeah. For the men, it's a par 4. I would rather go back from where they go and call it a 4, I think. Because the chances of birdieing this are low for us. And this play from Missy is awesome. She goes right side of the tree, which is a smaller gap, but it takes that OB creek largely out of play. Yeah, I mean, it's too short to call it a par 4, really, I feel like, but also...
I just would be surprised to see many birdies. I don't think there will be any.
I think you'd have to make a circle 2 putt to birdie.
You'd have to get really...
Or throw the best drive of your life.
Yeah, well, you just would have to get really lucky past that big tree and not catch any of the small trees, because there's not really, like, a defined fairway once you get past that big tree.
Hokom had a good shot there. Macie is throwing a Raider. And I'm not sure if she was trying to go inside of the tree or curve it on the outside, but she gets a pretty nasty cut roll. And it stays in.
That's like such a weird roll. Just like get
That's a pretty common occurrence on this hole. Flipping your backhand a little too much, catching that hill and cut rolling into the creek.
This is that Champion Colossus. Ooh, she pulled that one.
That's early to go out of bounds.
Hey, great putt right there.
That out of bounds creek goes in front of the basket, all the way down, and then in front, wraps around in front of the basket. So it makes this approach so difficult. Ohn is not scared.
Nope.
I like the idea.
I don't know that she crossed in bounds though.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Maybe there's one little peninsula that she did. This is tough. You're going to see a lot of people lay up just shy of the island green before the creek and try to just make their circle 2 putt instead of trying to cross and land on that weird felt mini golf green. She's got a gap.
You can see how
Ooh-hoo. Very nice.
you can see how small the island is that you have to land on
Never had a doubt.
to get your putt for 3.
This is a tough little gap here, but
Hoping to land safe to maybe save her bogey. She'll be just outside the circle with a deft putt.
oh, so Ohn did cross way up here.
Gives it a good bid from far away.
I need Justin.
Is this for birdie? Birdie look?
Yeah, she got so far up there. Do it. Come on.
Step putt looking so strong. There were no birdies on the day, and I feel like that is going to be one of the closest opportunities we will see.
Yeah, that right side play is really cool. I didn't even think about it. I go left side of the tree on an Anheuser, but it's so risky. Maybe I'll just change my game plan completely and just try to be like Missy.
Is it a benefit? Oh,
There were a lot of those big cheers today. Like, people did some cool stuff out there. Ohn always with a great sense of humor and a good attitude, and even taking the triple bogey. She's one of my favorite people to play with. Maybe my favorite? Yeah, I'm going to say it. My favorite person to play
hot take. Ohn's a favorite. I think that she would probably be a lot of people's favorite. She really is hilarious. And
Combat Commander has enough space for all your discs here and everything else you need here. We beefed up the construction while keeping it lightweight and made sure there's ventilation so you can stay cool while waiting for your friends to throw because you just outdrove them. Or while you're looking for your disc in the OB. Either one.
Hole 6 is a par 3. It's 437 feet, and this is definitely a 2-shot hole to get your par. You want to land up on the right side of this tree, but in reality, anywhere on this big grassy fairway is fine. And then you chip up to the green that's protected by a bunch of trees, hopefully giving yourself a short putt. There's out of bounds on the deep side of the green in the road, and the sidewalk that goes through the middle of the fairway is safe.
A lot of the men go roller here, and we might see a few of the women try. That's pretty much the only way to get there, I think, easily. Because otherwise it just takes an unbelievably massive shot.
The challenge here is getting off this tee pad and getting enough distance to shorten your second shot. It's a blind shot. You're looking basically straight at this bush. You can see perfectly down the fairway right here. And these trees, even though it seems like a wide gap, people will catch these trees and not be able to get out of the gap on their drive and have to take a couple shots to get out of the shade.
Yeah, really all you have to do is get past that one tree, and
It's funny, in years prior, when I'm standing on this tee pad, I'm absolutely terrified. But, like, as you get more comfortable with your discs and your shot, like, that tree doesn't matter anymore. But
Oh, I hit it.
But did you?
Yeah.
But I remember standing on the tee pad and being like, how am I going to get out of here?
Yeah. No, it's not too hard. You just need to throw an Anheuser. That's it.
That's all.
It's not that hard. I'm talking to myself, not anybody else.
I know.
I do think forehand is a great play to kind of go wide around the trees. It really opens up the green. If you try to go backhand, you kind of just have to get lucky through those trees. Ohn likes to go drivers, even on her upshots. This is her destroyer again, and it filters through the trees nicely.
Macie opting for the sidearm as well. Puts it a little wider than you want, but it's going to filter back in and find its way inside the circle.
Yep, everybody agrees with me. Sidearm is the play.
You can see how far away all of these 4 approach shots were to get to the green, but there were 2 birdies on the day. No surprise. Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen.
Yeah, Katrina laid down the roller and was 15 feet away. It was awesome.
That is so cool. This would be like the most gratifying birdie in the world.
Yeah. I think we'll see more and more people develop the roller and start to attack holes like this. Macie a little left side. We'll have to take the bogey.
43% of the field with a bogey or worse here. It can happen quickly if you find your way into that bush off the tee or leave your upshot a little bit wide or short, giving yourself a long putt. But most people walking out of here with a par, and that feels okay on this hole.
I mean, it feels pretty good. It's about as good as you can do without something crazy. I think Paige had to make a pretty long putt for this one. I think I saw a video of it and she was like in circle 2 or even outside of it and curved it around a tree.
Yeah, an air shot to this green would be so crazy.
Hole 7 is super hard. You have to shoot through a tiny little gap here. If you can land above these roots right about here and leave yourself a straight shot, it's still difficult, but it's the best way to go. So it's really just a placement shot off the tee with a putter, or if you want to get aggressive, you can throw a sidearm and try to work up the hill a little bit. But if you get off to the sides, birdie's out of the question. This is a new tee pad. We used to have to play from the men's tee pad, which is a much harder gap. This is a little bit easier. Wow, Missy pulls and she's going to push too far straight.
I think that's going to be the most common error with the sidearm. I saw a lot of women on my card ending up in that exact spot. It tucks you, when you throw deep, it tucks you to the left-hand side, and there's a big clump of trees that you have to work your way around before you can get to the basket.
Yeah, that kind of U-bend you see short is all out of bounds, so you really don't want to hyzer out early. So I think pulling it to the left is
The safe play.
but yeah, safer.
Safer. Yeah, those bushes pinch off the backhand and then force you to throw like a flex sidearm. That's really hard to get power and distance on uphill, especially since that tree blocks you being able to put any sort of height under the disc.
Also, what I saw a lot is that people would get like anti-skips up the hill. Instead of skipping towards the right, they'd skip straight or to the left. So it's just hard to nail this perfectly like this.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
That is ideal.
That was a defender. And we're going to see kind of that tricky play you were mentioning. It's either going to be a pitch out like this, or if you're trying to get to the pin, some sort of aggressive flex forehand.
But I mean, from there it's still about, I don't know, I would say 250 feet uphill. So it's, I mean, it's kind of a mash for a sidearm. Hokom catching that last tree you want to miss to wrap the corner.
Pretty big kick, too. She really didn't make much forward progress.
I think that just shows, I mean, you can't quite see on film how steep this hill is, but that big of a kick shows just how much room there is to carry because of how steep this hill slopes.
Ohn had a pretty good angle and takes advantage, putting herself inside the circle, about 23 feet, we'll call it. Oh. Ouch.
That guardian tree gets people a lot.
The rough, too, it's not quite as bad as Northwoods Black, but it is still painful.
Lots of vines, and those are the worst.
Yeah, a lot of times you're just kind of forced to pitch out.
Eliminates all of the lines you could possibly sneak through.
Oh. One of the first mistakes we've seen from Missy this round. Just super early release. Macie getting aggressive, trying to get there with a felon. Gets herself to just outside the circle. Good little chip shot for Missy.
Watching this card play, you can see just how difficult this hole is. There was only 3 birdies on the day in the FPO field. Ellen Woodboom, Deanne Carey, and Sarah Sinclair.
Yeah, that's a great birdie. See if
Oh God, Owen, are you kidding?
well, sorry about that, guys.
Spoiler, police, I'm under arrest. Sarah with a great par after having to straddle way out on her second shot.
Macie just trying to limit the damage and get off the hole. Just taking a bogey.
Idlewild's one of those great properties that not only do you have those thick wooded fairways, but I mean, they really have a ton of hills. We're in northern Kentucky, so you guys know, in this area, know what it's like. Steep hills, lots of hills.
A bogey doesn't feel terrible when you have a missed shot and you're deep in the woods. You just really want to limit the doubles and triples and things that happen like that.
Hole 8 is a very challenging par 5. You want to throw a hyzer off the tee that hopefully carries down past this little diagonal tree, opening up your second shot. There's out of bounds on the left-hand side that classically won't come into play off the tee. You want to try to get into this gap right here, leaving yourself open second shot so you can chip a sidearm around to the green here. It is very steeply sloping and it slopes into a bunch of stuff that you do not want to putt out of. So you really want to meter your disc landing on this green.
The aggressive play is a flex sidearm. You can get all the way past that diagonal tree into the open. Let's see. Hokom is throwing a relay, and that was well done. She'll still be playing for birdie rather than eagle. It is short enough that you could conceive of an eagle happening, but it would take 2 unbelievably special shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you need to carry a little bit further than Hokom did. She's still got about what I would say 375 feet.
Right, and the second shot isn't easy. Ohn had a better line for being aggressive and getting distance, but she does catch a tree.
Missy opting for the hyzer route. You really just want to make sure you don't push deep because catching those trees early makes the hole a lot longer.
Yeah, I would say that that's a more conservative play, but you'll see people go putter off the tee just to make sure they hit the gap. That was a thrasher. Missy's still trying to get distance, and she got kind of a bad kick. Mm-hmm. That one is also bad. The right side is kind of
it's brutal,
jaily.
Missy still has footing where she doesn't have to avoid trees, which is surprising. She's pitching out wide right, and at this point, she still might be able to get up and give herself a putt on her third shot.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. This
is more typical of what happens when you kick right. Weird footing, a lot of small trees to avoid. But she still gets out to the flat.
And can also even think about birdie. Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's definitely a very scoreable par 5, but it also will punish you if you mess up. Ohn pulls it.
Oh,
If this
no.
rolls back to the middle, she'll be okay. That's not the worst. Sarah with the best look at it here. This is a relay again.
Turning into the gap just the way you want.
Yeah. Up there for an eagle bid.
Good job.
Definitely on my bucket list to eagle this in competition during my career.
Oh no, Missy gets a little slide out. Probably puts a little extra heat on that disc. She'll be on the left-hand side, but that is not a bad way to error if you're going to error.
To fall on the ground? No. No, she's pretty close and should be able to get her par.
Wow. That looks great.
Thank you.
That was a felon to just inside the circle.
You can tell she was born and bred in the Tennessee wooded hills. It's very similar to this course. East Tennessee is a disc golf mecca. There's so many cool courses there.
Ohn coming up short, maybe 45 feet. Missy's got a pretty clear alleyway here. And leaves it shorter than she'd like.
He's not in here.
Still just inside the circle for her birdie look.
Needs to be an Anheuser backhand.
Yes. Perfect.
And I thought she got a little closer. She was by the orange line for this beehive, and I thought it was the circle. Like, it's my bad.
I was like, this is a very long eagle look.
I made a mistake. It looks exactly the same.
It does. It's
just
the same
smaller.
flag.
Ah, good effort.
She'll still be able to get a tap and par, which is great,
This is
considering where her tee shot landed.
Missy for her par, which is a great save. This is like the hardest par 5 that's just over 100 feet per shot if you average it out.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Uh-huh.
20% of the field with birdies, 54% with pars, and 25% with a bogey or worse. Really well-designed hole for the FPO field.
Rounding out the front 9, a shorter par 3, 258 feet. This gap is pretty small and calls for a sidearm, I think, more than the backhand. The green does slope downhill, and you can get a lot of rolls or skips to the edge that leave a tough putt, but everyone eyeing this one down for a birdie look here. And we do have a pretty strong sidearm card today, so I imagine they'll all be throwing a little hyzer sidearm. This is a bit too high. And just disappeared.
Disappeared.
Yep. Dang, I was hoping she threw her vanish. That was a
Serious?
crave.
Oh. Ohn using that airspace to get way down there.
This is a Firebird, and this
Don't look too long.
could be good. No, it's...
Oh man,
Wow.
just keeps finding a way. She'll be in circle 2, right on the edge of the Shul,
This is a Missy Gannon Undertaker.
pushing a little straighter than you want, getting caught up in that very last bush that you want to miss. That's a very common mistake on this hole. Macie with the other mistake that you see pretty regularly, and that is skipping out of bounds, or skipping to the right hand side in the trees, but she'll be still just around circle's edge.
Yeah, with an open putt. I think that's definitely the better play, kind of an overstable disc.
Sarah with another really nice touchy backhand approach with the putter.
Yeah, it does roll a little bit, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. Missy from 70-ish.
Thank you.
Missy playing really clean. Hokom as well. You just don't see them take very many strokes over par. Take their birdies where they can. Super strong at scrambling. Just fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure their double bogey, triple bogey percentage is really low. And that's what's important, especially on courses like these. Just not letting it spiral. Sarah having to deal with that tree in her putting line, but not enough to have to straddle. Yes. Only 17% of the field with a birdie today. That's only 6 birdies. That's less than I would have guessed.
I'm sure we'll see more in the next couple rounds. I mean, even the birdieable holes are hard. Like,
They're not gimmies. There's no gimmies. That wraps up the back 9. Let's check out what our feature card did. We see some color on the leaderboard from Macie Walker, but she's comfortable in the wood. She'll be able to bounce back. Look at Sarah Hokom and Missy Gannon with super clean front 9s.
Just the stuff of dreams. Ohn only having 2 bad holes, but taking large numbers. 5 over really isn't that bad at this moment. Like, I think you can shoot a 10 over and still be over 900 rated out here. That's how hard it is.
Yeah, even par I feel like is almost a way to get on lead card guaranteed.
I think that's probably everybody's goal out here, is to shoot even. Or like 1 under's the dream.
We're living large out here
Oh my God.
at Idlewild.
Dream big. Well, thank you. Yep, you do it.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us on the front 9. We still have the back 9, and you guys do want to come check it out. There's some really cool holes, a lot of shots to watch. My name's Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the 2 hot geese.
Honk.